Hi guys, welcome back to another video. This video is directly influenced a recreation of another fabulous trans girl YouTuber that I discovered today, a few moments ago actually. I'll link her original concept idea of video down in the description box. As you can read by the title, these are the types of men that will date or like trans girls. So basically very similar to hers, but I've altered one or two things from my experiences that I've noticed that what kind of guys are attracted to trans girls. So first one would be the guy that tends to fetishize like lightly, so your run-of-the-mill like porn watcher guy, for lack of a better word. He will be like mum's the word, like hush hush hush, your typical lad, but he'll throw hints at a trans girl that he's into it, but he might be too like scared to act upon it. So he might like your pictures on social media, or he might comment to you, or if you're like talking to him anyway, like as in like if you went to school with him and then you come out, he might just like make a random conversation with you that's not overtly sexual, because they don't want to be like public about this. They don't want anything to be used against them to tell people that they're into trans girls. So they're very smart about what they, not even smart, just very calculated about what they say, what they do, how they do it, because they don't want no traces back to them. So that's the first type of bullshit men that like trans girls. The second would be the chaser. This word, like the previous YouTuber mentioned, and I as a trans woman like can say this, but it is offensive for other people to say it. But for lack of a better word, this is offensive, so you shouldn't go around saying it. The tranny chasers or trans chasers, transgender chasers. So this is like an evolution of like the first one, where they're more so less discreet, so they will overtly go out of their way to seek out either on escorting sites like my girl Elena Genevieve. If any of you know her, I love her. So escorting websites, any way they can get into contact with a trans girl. They tend to have like money to pay for these types of services, so these men can actually be out and openly say it. I don't think they really care too much unless they're in a position of power or an authoritative figure like a businessman or anything. But if it's your run-of-the-mill kind of like guy who isn't like wealthy and loaded and he's just like chasing after trans girls, I don't think he necessarily cares about other people knowing, because it's obvious of how they're doing it. And obviously this trans girl will tell people, oh my god, he's a chaser. And yeah, so that wraps that up. And they're very like gung-ho about that type of porn, that type of content that they watch and jack themselves off to. So it's like a very heightened extremist way of life for them. So yeah, that's the second type of guy. The third type of guy is in the realm of secretive, so he's all accepting. I would describe this as like toxic masculinity syndrome that men have in general, not even to do with this, but they accept you, accept their feelings about you. They are more so inclined to date you and less to like objectify you. They have the basics basically like situated, for lack of a better word. they can be nice and like boyfriend material, what's letting them down is that they don't want the world to know. For the most part, like they don't want their friends to know, their family to know, so they're basically shit and like pussies. I've dealt with a fair share of these types of men, but I've learned, and I've had like my friends slash family members, which are my friends, tell me that I should not invest my time in them, and I'm not anymore, because they have the ways of like their ways of like holding a grip on you, being emotionally like abusive in the way of like holding you and saying, making promises that they can't keep, and them saying, oh, but this and that, just to keep you, because they obviously are attracted to you, and if they're in the dating realms or anywhere near it, they obviously like you on a much more personal level. But this isn't as deep as the upcoming guys I'm going to talk about, but this is basically the guy that wants it but doesn't have the balls to fucking lay it down and be like, this is my girl, this is my woman. The fourth one is a heightened evolution of the previous one. So I will call this person, I briefly touched on it, false hope. Like, this person will make promises that they can't keep because of toxic masculinity and what they deem as what's appropriate in society. It depends on how passable you are, but people might know that they're seeing you or have had sex with you or been shown out and about with you, but because you're passable, it doesn't matter necessarily. Some of these types of men, they will go on dates with you and all that, and it'll be a grand time, but they will never ever bring up that you are trans to friends, family, unless you do it or like it's out somehow, but they will never ever like really mention it or like pretend it's like it doesn't exist. So these types of men will just basically completely obliterate your story and your past and give you false hope in the terms of like they want it to be long term and they are proud of you and accept you truly, but they have their own issues. It's a them issue, it's not a you issue. It's all internal fuckery and struggles and bunch of lies, and it's just basically pulling on your heartstrings kind of guy that just emotionally drains you, and you just need to see through it and just present an ultimatum. It's now or never, bitch. You either have me now, and like it doesn't need to be like a dramatic thing of like, oh my god, I'm trans, hello world, hello family of your boyfriend, I'm trans. It can just be like, yeah, if it comes up, it comes up. It's going to be like on my social media or whatever, it will come up, and I won't hide anything, but I won't force it and shove it down people's throat that don't need to know. So yeah, false hope. And the last type of guy, types of guys that seek out after trans girls is it's more so prevalent within today's society, especially with like technology and phones and dating apps. These types of men would stumble upon trans porn or stuff like that. So you find these types of like butch, like masculine men, whatever that means, on Tinder. So like your very stereotypical like tall 6 foot basketball player, like that kind of stature, like Greek god, like abs for days, and just like, yeah, very very that kind of Abercrombie and Fitch kind of guy. Those types of men will be oblivious, from my experiences, like be oblivious that you are trans, and then they will, once they talk to you and you if you decide to tell them then and there after talking to you and like getting to know you, they will hint at wanting to see what's in between your legs. They will accept you and like be like, oh my gosh, I didn't know, I couldn't have ever tell. They'll be very that, and then the sexual like clogs will turn, and it's almost like the toxic masculinity where, and like it's a running element through all of these guys. So basically all of them, the ones that just don't want the world to know, so they will like feed things to you and say, oh my gosh, can I see what's in between your legs? Because 9 times out of 10 they fantasize about this crap all the time, because you'd be a fool to think that a majority of men don't watch all types of porns, just fantasize all types of things because they've been denied it and told not to like it, or it's not appropriate or normal to like. So you're like a lab rat, an experiment. These men are experimenting with you. So Tinder, dating apps, it's a screen to hide behind. Go figure. So they will go in on that, and because they can literally like, once you don't give them what they want, they can literally like unmatch with you, and then they're gone unless you become a CIA agent and like stalk them and then let everyone know that they're this way. But how practical is that? You're wasting your time, your precious time, and I suggest it's not that deep. So just let them be that and live their life as a sheep. So those were the types of men that I've come across. I just hope people get their shit together, because it's a you problem, not a me problem. So trans girls shouldn't be objectified. We're just human beings, and what the fuck does even passable mean? What is passable? Like, we're all beautiful in our own way. Cis, trans, we're human. We all bleed the same fucking blood. So yeah, it just annoys me. Anywho, thank you for watching, and subscribe, comment, like, whatever. Thank you.